in India's Kashmir province. Shujat was a proponent of peace in Kashmir and had been living under police protection since a previous attempt to kill him in 2000. But perpetrators in India, a country where attacks against journalists have been on the rise, know that they will never be brought to justice. It is when editors and journalists like Shujat, like Jan Kuciak in Slovakia, like Daphne Caruana Galizia in Malta, are killed. Brave journalists who continue doing their job in spite of repeated attacks and threats. Incredible persons and close friends. When they are killed, we realize how much society loses every time a journalist's voice is silenced. And we know we cannot accept this. Also here in Nigeria, a country with a very lively news industry and which enjoys a good degrees of freedom, safety has been a serious problem for journalists. And I'm very glad that Minister Lai Mohammed and other members of the government have agreed to work with IPI toward addressing this issue. And we look forward to working with you and all the other partners in Nigeria to ensure that journalists can work safely in Nigeria. The IPI World Congress in Abuja was made possible because of the immense support we have received by those individuals, news organizations, and other institutions who have come together to organize this event. And they have done so because they believe that press freedom and independent public interest journalism need to be supported by all of us in any way we can. I would like to thank you all for this. On 25 April, when a court in Turkey pronounced an unexpectedly harsh verdict against 14 journalists and media staff, including three IPI members who were sentenced to between 2.5 and 7.5 years in prison. One of the defendants, IPI member and investigative journalist Ahmed Sheikh, who received the harshest sentence, wrote on Twitter, "Keep your chin up. No dictatorship in history has been able to win the war to silence those who are in the right. We will win." The IPI World Congress is the gathering of those who have chosen to join hands to fight against anybody who wants to silence the press. This is your Congress. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, and very important points, very relevant to international journalism raised there by Barbara Trionfi. And moving rapidly forward, I'd like to call on Mr. John Yearwood, who is the chair of the International Press Institute, to come forth and give his brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, President Buhari. Because of the interest of time, all other protocols established. I'd like to take a minute to mention that IPI in 2 years will be turning 70 years old. This is an organization with an extremely proud history. Among our accolades over the years is being nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize because of the work that IPI did in bringing Konrad Adenauer, as well as the French president at the time, Charles de Gaulle, together. And that proud history continues today with, as Barbara mentioned, the work that IPI has done in Turkey. A year ago, I visited Turkey shortly after the 14 journalists were arrested. I went to Cumhuriyet newspaper, which had been decimated because all of the editors had been thrown in jail. I was happy to visit Turkey just a few weeks ago after many of them had been released. And they wanted me to pass along to you one message, simply to say thank you to IPI members. Because of the work that IPI did, all of you, individually and collectively, in writing letters, making phone calls, many of them, in fact, all of them, were able to be released. So again, from our colleagues, including our board member, Kadri Gürsel, and our other members in Turkey, thank you. And in that same vein, I would like to urge President Buhari, who is a champion of the people of Nigeria, to please look into the case of Jones Aberi. And our hope is that when we next gather as an organization, he will be with us as a freed journalist. Thank you. Before I leave, I would like to thank IPI members in Nigeria and all members of the IPI World Congress Local Organizing Committee for putting together an event that promises to be impressive and very important for Nigeria and for the IPI community. A special thanks goes to Mr. Nduka Obitrina, chair of the Local Organizing Committee, Mr. Issa, who is an IPI fellow and key supporter of the Abuja Congress, and Mr. Kebaru Yusuf, IPI board member and chairman of IPI Nigeria, Mr. Rahim, Secretary General of the IPI Nigeria, who has been working day and night with our Congress coordinator and staff in Vienna for the past year to ensure that every little detail is taken care of. As I said, IPI is a proud organization, and the organization is also strong and getting stronger. Finally, after this Congress, I will be heading to stage left because my term ends as the IPI board chair. I'd like to say it has been a deep honor and one certainly of the highlights of my life to serve as your chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Yearwood. And without further ado, I'd like to call on Nduka Obebune, who is the chairman of the Local Organizing Committee and president, Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, among other things.
Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished colleagues and friends of Nigeria, you are welcome to Nigeria.